My grandfather told me this very terrifying and creepy story, something that happened to him when he was 10 years old. My grandfather was playing in the woods by his house with his best friend. As he and his best friend were playing, they noticed they heard a weird sound. It sounded like an animal screeching, but it didn't sound like any animal that they know of. My grandfather told his best friend, "Let's check to see where the noise is coming from." "Okay, why not?" his friend said without a thought. As they got closer, the sound got more louder. It got louder to the point where they can pinpoint where the noise was coming from, and they saw the source. It was a giant moose. It was pretty big. But my grandpa's best friend looked it funny, like he wasn't sure of what he was seeing. Then, at that very moment, my grandpa's friend said something that made him feel unsettled. "Wait, look at what the moose is eating. Is that a human hand?" My grandpa looked at closer and he was in shock. It indeed was a human hand that the moose was eating. "Since when do moose eat humans?" my grandfather asked his friend. But as soon as his friend looked at closer at the moose, his friend grew pale and he put his finger towards his lip, looking at my grandfather. He didn't say nothing to my grandfather. He just gestured to him to run. And they did. As they were running, they heard that sound again, that screeching sound. My grandfather turned around, and what he told me made me frightened. He saw the moose looking towards their direction, and then the moose stood up on its hind legs. My grandfather recalled it standing up about 12 feet, and as it stood up on its hind legs, it let out a horrifying sound. My grandfather asked my friend, "Do mooses stand up on their hind legs and make that sound?" "Shut up and keep running. I explain later," his friend snapped it. When they finally turned home, my grandfather asked again, "What was that? Was that actually a moose?" My grandpa's friend explained to him, still out of breath, telling him, "We're lucky to be alive. And no, to answer your question, that wasn't a moose. That's a wendigo. We're lucky to be alive. They're 12-foot creatures that feast off of human flesh. Does that answer your question?" After my grandfather explained to him what they encountered, my grandfather grew scared. And ever since they lived in that house, he's never gone into those woods again. He was way too frightened. He was too afraid to face the wendigo.